Oh boy. It's not letting me stream to Facebook. So I'll just, yeah. Oh, I see. I see. Let's hope I fixed it. I did. Ooh. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to share with you my thoughts on the market hitting all-time highs. How about a China stock update? I sure missed you guys. Our precise daily stock levels, our game plan in Forex, as well as our full stock analysis. I am Mark Melnick, and this is the Newsbeat Show. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the Newsbeat Show. I just got back to the United States of America and back to, as you're saying, back to reality. So I get to come back to trading and see everything we're going to do here. And I have so many important things to go over today. But first, I would like to say thank you. And just one second, your screen's going to go black. I would like to say thank you to whoever wrote this from the legal team of T3, of course, and just basically saying that this is not a broker dealer and there's a lot more. Kindly pause it and read this before continuing the video. Okay, now let's just move right along and we're going to get back to me. And wow, what a crazy week it's been. I've been looking at the analysts and I just found it like so extremely interesting today, how a lot of the analysts were, you know, coming out and commenting on things. Like it just seems like the analysts are just back in full force again. And I find it funny, and I think it's not more because of I wouldn't say full force, maybe that's a strong word, but they're coming out stronger now than they usually do. And I think the reason for that is, for example, the all-time highs that we are making in the market. And I want to show you what happens with the all-time highs, what it can actually mean for your trading, and what you could do, of course, to take advantage of it. And I think that is the critical thing to go over. So first, let's just start off with the triple Qs. Okay, very simple chart here. I'm just going to delete some of the lines here just to make it easier for you to see. Notice what happens in the triple Qs. Do you realize what happens when you make all-time highs? I just want to show you. And no, there's no long-term charting on this. I find it funny when people actually say, history repeats itself, so you always have to watch it. And I'm starting to become a non-believer of that. So let's just move this chart out here, and I just want to show you something. So, it's easier to draw up for you. All right, so here the Q's made all-time highs back between January and February, right? So what happens? About a month and a half later, whoa. About month and a half later, we make another all-time high right over here on the cues. I think it remains similar for the spiders as well. So here's another all-time high made. Then we wait, and we make another all-time high right here. Then we wait, we make another all-time high, another all-time high. And now today, we finally do another all-time high right over there. Do you notice something? Do you notice something about this chart? You notice something? It's okay if you don't. Look at the distance between the two red arrows here. Look at the distance between the two green arrows. I'm showing you how you could predict the future just simply. Whoops. Here. There, green arrows. Okay. Look at, let's choose a different color, the blue arrows here. Let's call this about the same. They're right near each other. Now, I'm going to ask you a question. You know, they do this on the IQ test. And for some reason, despite that I couldn't get good grades in school, I did well on IQ tests. And I find that funny because I actually don't consider myself a genius. But look at this. Now, let me ask you a question. If this was an IQ test, there's a reason. Where do you think I would draw the next white arrow? There's red, red, green, green, blue, blue, white. Where am I going to draw the next white arrow? Where is going to be the line in which the white arrow touches? My guess, given like the similar distancing between these moves, I would say it would make sense for the white arrow to be right around there. Right around here. This is a guess, right? Predicting, the future. It'd be right around there. And I'm going to show you how it translates into English. Because when we make an all-time high, what always comes? I'll show you. I'll show you. Watch this. This is actually quite brilliant. Get a down move like that. Get a down move like that. Get a down move like that. I'm just showing you the past, the last times we make all-time highs followed by a down move, right? I'm just showing you what the down moves look like. So, the question, of course, being, what kind of down move would we expect here? Probably something that looks something like this, approximately. So what am I saying in English? There's a very good chance we get to the white line that I drew right over here. This white line, there's a good chance we get there. And then there's a good chance that we follow through down here. I keep leaving paint splotches on the screen. I was always good with my hands, but I was never a good painter. Go figure. Like, I have no artistic abilities whatsoever. I go inside Museum of Natural Art in New York City, and to me, the majority, like, you ever see those, you know what, I always find this hilarious, because in a way, you are an artist by looking at the charts and coming up with these different strategies and methodology. It's almost an artistic expression. I mean, what is the one and done, the high five and the fun 21 strategy, other than a statistically consistent artistic expression of the trader? Now, I could do these analogies all day, but you ever see those pictures where it looks like you have all these different, like these famous artists with all these different paint splotches all over with the different colors in this, and then you'll have like the art expert come and say, Sacre bleu, it looks like the artist was going through a tough time in his childhood, and the whole screen just looks like a bunch of colors, like with no drawings, nothing, just paint splotches all over. You could tell that he was struggling with his family's childhood. And I'm looking and I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you really taking that from that chart? That person should not be a trader. The person who looks at that and says, you know what I see when I do it? It looks like the person swallowed a gallon of every color of paint and vomited on the canvas and then put it up. That's what it looks like to me. For me, things in the market, the way I view, and there's a reason why I'm saying this, things in the market need to look in a way where you have an answer. Whatever you do on the chart, you should look at it and say, this is a very likely probability of happening next. I'll be wrong, but you better be right more often than you're wrong. And again, any trader out there who says you don't have to be right more often than you're wrong, you just need to make a lot more when you're right and lose a lot less when you're wrong, needs to take a laxative because they're full of something that they can't get out of their system. So when I'm looking at this is a high statistical probability. This is a high statistical probability. So what do? The market's going to go up and then down according to Mark Melnick. And it'll go less up in the future before having this down move, and then it will decide from there if it goes up even further, more. I'm not saying like, oh, bear market coming right around. I was never that guy. I was never that guy calling for this, huge bear market every time we go up. However, I was predicting a red year in terms of where we opened from, a red candlestick, meaning pretty much we're going to close lower than where we open, and so far that is very incorrect. But from this point forward, and I can admit when I'm incorrect, and the funny thing is I'm making money on these strategies because, you know, look how look at my favorite play, Sale, hitting all-time highs today at 31.84. Stitch Fix hitting all-time highs today at 38.60. All these names are beautiful. So what do? Now that you know what I'm thinking, every time we make a new high in the Qs, and I'm pretty sure it looks pretty similar to the spiders. Yep. Every time you make a little bit of a new high in the spiders, not exactly because spiders actually had a bigger all-time high. I like using the Qs, so I'm going to stick with that. Look, you come up, you make an all-time high, you dip down. You come up, you break the all-time high, you have a dip down. You come up, you make an all-time high, you have a dip down, and these are pretty significant dips. Like, for example, on July 25th, you went from 182.93, just a few red bars, right, to 174.27. You see that? You lost $8.66. You lost $8.50 in 3 days off the highs of the triple Qs when you made all-time highs on July 25th. So the pullbacks are far more violent than the up moves. We are in an uptrend. Up, 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 up. It's like 10 steps to go up, 3 steps you go down 60% of the way, and then you go 10 steps back up again. That's what it feels like. So how do you trade this? How do you make, all right, Mark, I get it. I hear what you're saying. What do I do? The cream rises to the top. What does that mean? Thank you, Mark. I appreciate that. Now I'm going to be the most amazing trader on the planet. The analysts are going to tell you what to buy. The analysts are going to show you what to do. The volume is going to show you what to do. Step one, take names that have the snot beaten out of them on the daily chart overall, comparatively with the market. Like, even look on a weekly chart if you need. Go back on a weekly chart, take beaten up names. Those are the names that could continue to rise. Because right now, the analysts just took a deep sigh. They're like, analysts took a deep sigh. So what is Mark? Help me. Take me a step further, Mr. Melnick. What is a beaten up name when a market is at all-time highs? What in the world could you be referring to? Facebook. Facebook, after the whole scandal BS, drops, you know, trading at $177 where it closed today from a high of 218. Think about that. That is 40 over 40 points off the all-time high. And this isn't Amazon or Google. This is Facebook. 40 points is a hot 20% approximately. We're rounding off here, right? Facebook is 20% off the all-time high. How about a name that's we gave you on Friday? Oh, I gave you right before I left on Friday, which a lot of you like. How about how beaten up Netflix is? What do you mean it's beaten up, Mark? Look how it rallied from 310 to 374. The stock rallied 60 points in 6 days. It's averaging 10 over 10 points a day. That's amazing. It is. Still beaten up from their all-time high of 423.21. I'm giving you FANG names, the hottest names, right? On Wall Street, beaten up. Facebook, Netflix, beat it up. Really? So how about Apple? Is Apple beaten up? No. All-time high in Apple, 219.18. Hit 218.74 today in Apple. Apple isn't beaten up. You want to know what else isn't beaten up? Amazon. All-time high in Amazon, 1925 was the prior all-time high. You hit 1927.70 today, making fresh all-time highs in Amazon. That's not beaten up. This is sort of in the middle. Google is not really that beaten up. It's around, $35, but $35 for Google is different than $41 for Facebook. You want to know what's going to happen? Look for Facebook upgrades. Don't look for defense. Defense are the zero conviction analysts. Look for Facebook upgrades. Look for those upgrades in Facebook. Look for the upgrades in Netflix. The reason before I left on Friday why I gave you guys Netflix right here, on Friday morning before I left, was because it was a beaten up name that got upgraded. So here is the rule in a market that's at all-time highs. You have to decide what beaten up is. Generally, it's 15% or more of the all-time high, the recent all-time high. 15% or more of the recent all-time high. If you're trading below that, I consider you beaten up if the market is at all-time highs, especially if you're a major name. I'm not talking about a sub $5 name. I'm not talking about the little chat room pump and dumps that happen all over outside, where people talk about a $2 stock and they buy, 50,000 shares and they pump it in the room and it goes to $2.20 and they unload it like it was like cold pizza from the night before. Unless you're in college, then that's like breakfast where I'm from. But with that being said, you get the picture. We're taking major multi-billion dollar companies and the way I look at this market now, so what am I going to do in a market like this? I'm going to look for names that are beaten up. Let me give you an example. I didn't trade today. I just came back to the US. I was back after 4 o'clock. How about Mosaic? How about Mosaic? Did any of you guys look at Mosaic today? And you might say, well, what was special about Mosaic? Well, the all-time high recently, well, it's not the all-time high, right? I mean, Mosaic used to be $163 stock. But a high from recent that you could see on your chart was $34. And, the stock was about 30 bucks the other day, round up near 15%. Now, what was important? There was a Susquehanna note today, this morning. It's hard to read because the print is small, but I'll read it for you. Mosaic got a $40 target here from Susquehanna from 33. $40 target from 33. Those are the names you want to look for. Those are the names that are going to work. Now, yes, there was a big pullback in Mosaic today. I get it, as there was in an AMD. But you really want to start leaning. You really want to start leaning towards these names that are beaten up. Is AMD beaten up from recently? No. Now, yes, AMD is way off the all-time high. I've been a trader for a while, so I know this. Like, yes, back in 2000, the same AMD you see now, before the 2-for-1 split, was actually a $97 stock. but with the after the 2-for-1 split, 48.50. So look how far you are from the all-time high of AMD. You are not remotely within shooting distance of that all-time high. It's like you're halfway there. You're halfway there. Do I consider AMD a beaten up name? No, because when you look at the daily chart, it's trading at the highs of its recent move. For example, Facebook here, it obviously isn't. For example, Netflix here, it obviously isn't. Facebook a little further than Netflix. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you want to take advantage of this market, simply take a beaten up name that an analyst comes out and raises a price target on. Because now is, you know what? The analysts become braver when the market is at all time highs, and they curl up into a little ball when the market goes down. Because every analyst, with the exception of some of those boutique firms, every analyst on Wall Street is a bull. Every single one of them. Now, when I say every single one, they're bearish ones. The vast majority of the analyst notes that come out in this market are bullish. That will change, and that will change, and that will change, and it'll go up and down and up and down in our lives. But when you come in tomorrow, like what names do you think I'm going to give you to trade? I am going to give you the names to trade that are generally beaten up names. And if there's volume behind it, even better. I think trading is still going to be best for the first hour and a half max. I think hour and a half is how it goes. Obviously, I'll be around. Still got to get slightly acclimated. It's crazy. You take 2 days off of trading, and all of a sudden you got to get acclimated again. But those are my thoughts on it. How about a China stock update? So you might have noticed recently when I was telling you the other day that you have to look for China to break under the 8 and 21. Remember from our talks on the prior Newsbeat video, we had to look at the US dollar. We're on number 2 here. And US dollar, Chinese yuan. And if the yuan goes down, the Chinese names go up. And if the US dollar yuan goes up, the Chinese names go down. So here was Friday, Sunday. I mean, yeah, Forex, foreign currency does open up on Sunday and Monday. Look at this move. What do you think Baba did since Friday? Oh, yeah, Baba reported, but actually had it up since Friday. See right here? Baba reported Thursday. Yeah, the Thursday. Actually went up. How about IQ since Friday? Went up. How about Billy, which reported after hours? That stock is at $12.20 right now. But look, it went up since Friday. How about Huya? Went up since Friday. So when you look at the Chinese dollar yuan, I mean, this is a Sunday bar. You have an extra bar here. You see how on Friday it got killed, and by holding lower, it gave the Chinese names an ability to push up. This is, I'm going to point out, a phenomenally critical level here is the 50 moving average on the Chinese yuan. Now look, there are people out there who look at the moving average and they love them and don't know how to use them. And there are people out there who look at the moving averages and they say, it's news that it's technicals that already happened. You're not able to predict the future using it. You're only able to predict what already happened. If you don't think that using a moving average will let you accurately predict the future, I implore you to use the high five strategy, which is starts off based off a moving average, and the Fun 21 strategy, which is also completely based off a moving average to start. You realize how I get consistent returns using those two strategies? It's because there's a moving average. Everything you see out there, whether it's forward analysis, which I do on my trend lines, and I do it real well, as opposed to moving averages, there's a way to look at it. So here's what I look at it. So here's a 50 moving average. I will never tell you, oh, use that as support and buy. I like almost never say that, right? I don't, that's not the way I speak. But you know how far we've been away from this 50 moving average? This is what you need to see. If, I'm going to call it right now, ladies and gentlemen, if the Chinese yuan retests this 50 and breaks underneath Sunday's low, I'll give you the level 6.78164, 6.78164, 678,164. Rewind this video, could do it again, 678,164. If we break down through that level, these Chinese names are going to go through the roof. Because now, look at IQ. This is also flirting near the 50 now, you see? If the Chinese yuan breaks under the 50, IQ bust over the 50. And IQ is extremely bullish here. Huya, another one of these, sexy Chinese names that have been moving. You could see like you're also trying to break out from like major resistance lines here and moving averages. This will be able to take off as well. So the key to know is that level in the Chinese yuan. And if we break underneath, I think you have a chase swing long even on some of these Chinese names. Remember, I'll go back. I very accurately gave you guys a break of 25 in IQ when it was right over here. When it was in the low 30s, I said it was going to break 25, and then we called it as a long on Wednesday, August 15th, when it broke 25. How amazing was that? Now I'm taking you to the next step. I'm showing you how we could continue and how we might have an opportunity to make money off it. Precise daily stock levels? Sure. Why not? Right over there, ladies and gentlemen. Feel free to screenshot them, put them on your list, do whatever you need to do with them, but keep them handy because it's going to be a very important thing to have, especially in a market like tomorrow. Some of these levels are illogically far away, like Google, but they're honest, like the resistance in Google. What are the odds, Mark, that 1309.23 hits on Google tomorrow, for example? Very low. But some of these levels are very close. It's just about the algorithmic trend lines, and you can obviously feel free to copy them. We've been on a bit of a roll on Forex recently after a pretty dry streak. So here you go. Get my 3 Forex orders, 2 longs and a short. Here's my size. Here's the symbol in which I'm looking to buy or sell. Here's the price up to 5 decimal places out in which I'm placing my pending order. I put this order in right before I start the Newsbeat show, so 0 of them are filled. You get it in, you get to do what you need with them. Here is my stop loss. This is from a live trading Forex account. Here's my stop loss if I get filled and I'm wrong. Here's my take profit if I get filled and I'm right. So the market is very interesting. News-wise, it is still going to take another week, but that doesn't mean we're not going to have more analysts coming out with the market at all-time highs and without an opportunity or two. I think you still have to be a little bit careful. Obviously, in every market, you got to be a little bit careful. But what I mean by that is like in October, I'm not going to be that careful. Like September usually gets better, but sometimes it's this much better, sometimes it's this much better. So I can't really tell. But once October, November, December, January, February, March, April hits, I'm gonna be like I'm gonna be like Barry Bonds on 3 times the steroids that him and Mark McGuire used to do in the off season with Sammy Sosa, tapping out as well. Like that's what I'm gonna be like. Careful will not be the word. Aggressive would be more common. So when people are like, "Oh, you got to be careful in the market," I think they almost say it in a way where it's true in every market condition. Yeah, they're careful and so don't just buy every stock, like obviously, but like I don't consider what I do in those 7 months I just told you, October, November, December, January, February, March, April. I don't consider myself to be careful. I consider myself to be intelligently aggressive. It's hard to come up with that word, but Yes, I am very, very excited about the markets here. Here's my game plan. I have a little crapper name for you here. IGC, India Globalization Capital. You ever get a call like from the I get these call I'll tell you, like I've never ordered drugs off one of these sites and like India Globalization, and I will get a call of them asking me if I want a drug. And they're like crazy stuff like diabetes medication I've been offered, heart medication I've never, thank God, needed some, Viagra. I'm like, what? Like, Cialis? Oh, do you need Cialis? And I get these calls like all the time on my phone. Maybe I think this is one of those companies that do that. But nonetheless, I guess they finally found enough people who are willing to pay them that sort of money. It's a Indian generic company, and they make Hyalolex. It's a cannabis-based supplement for treating and managing Alzheimer's patients. But I'm saying like all these like little generic companies out there, they call me up, they're offering me drugs all the time. Like drugs you would go to a doctor for. So I find that kind of interesting. IGC, nonetheless, gorgeous pop here. I'm looking for a breakout and follow through from $1.65. Again, that's India, Gary, Charlie for a little sub $2 crapper setup. I wouldn't be surprised if it explodes tomorrow. And with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to go into our full stock analysis. That's your stocks, my levels and thoughts on what you are watching. Of course, that is for Newsbeat Live members only. We're the largest, fastest growing trading room in the United States of America. Happy trading, make money. We'll see you guys next time on the Newsbeat Live trading broadcast. Have a wonderful evening.